Well, here we are back on the Bronco. You know, if it's not one thing, it's another, isn't it? So I've noticed over some time that I've had a minor leak in the radiator. And the reason why I knew that is because this here, the radiator coolant section was dwindling. Then I started it up. You know, I probably will not put that video up before this video, but I've had a no start problem. I'll take care of that issue in another video. But I noticed that on this side right here at the top of the cap, and who knows how far down, so I don't have the radiator out yet, there was a substantial leak and I could see it hitting the ground. Well, what does that mean? Time for a new radiator. So let me just, some people skip steps on this, or they at least don't tell you what the, you know, all the details that go into it. This line right here that you see bolts into here. There's a couple of little clamps, bolts here, bolts onto this right here on the top of the radiator, and then there's two here. That end right there goes onto the bottom, and then this hose right here, which goes to the reservoir, goes on the top. Now there's two bolts, one here for the radiator and one here for the radiator, and then that's it, and then it should pop off. I've already got the top off. I don't have the bottom off. This is the part where people kind of skip a little bit, and so I just want to let you know that both of these threads are right-handed threads. They're not left-handed threads, they're right-handed threads. This is all original. So this is over 25 years old. This top part here wasn't too bad. I soaked it for 2 days because I knew I was going to do this in well, first of all, in Croil. I put Croil on here. Croil is superior to PB Blaster in my estimation, just my opinion. And so I did that for 1 day, and then I put PB Blaster on it because it was easier to reach that bottom part on there where you see my adjustable wrench is on. That one down there was a real pain in the ass. It started to back off this, I don't remember what they call it, but it's like a radiator to oil cooler line. And I had to hold it because it was taking out the whole bolt, the whole transfer here. And let me show you what the new ones look like. My radiator came with new ones, and here they are. So I'm going to put a little bit of thread sealant on these and then put them in to the new one, and they go here. These are the oil cooler lines. Now, the one thing I do not know so far is how much ATF I'm going to have to replace, because oil runs through this. It was a cheap way for OEM people to run these radiators. This is the first time I've really had to deal with anything like this because, you know, I'm a big manual transmission guy, and we never have to worry about crap like this. But this is all I could do. I mean, the Bronco was a good deal. I wanted to have a manual transmission. I just couldn't find one. So anyway, new ones go in there. I think these nuts on here, these are left-handed, but I'm not sure. I'm not going to screw with them, so I don't know. Okay, so I need to get the bottom line off, though, to get the bottom hose clamp off on the radiator. And I've just got them sitting there right now because I want to rig something up so I could wrap the outside of those oil cooler lines. Because the last thing you want on these right here is for contamination to get into the transmission. So I'm going to probably get some, you know, those These may work. Maybe I can be able to shove those in there somehow. I'm not sure. I might do that. But I've got them loosened and they're just sitting in there. So I've got the bottom hose and then the oil cooler lines and 2 bolts. And then this thing should just lift off. I probably need to take off this rubber piece right here too. One other thing, some people take off the entire fan and move the shroud out and all of that stuff. And you know, it's just not necessary if all you're doing is this. If you need more room and you're doing more things, then yeah, you're gonna have to do that. But for something like this, I don't really think you need it. So anyway, onward and upward. And let me see if I can see real quick. I don't really, you might be able to see some of the leakage, but it came on this side of the tank primarily. I'm really not seeing it coming out of the radiator itself. Apparently these side tanks, which are plastic, are notorious for cracking and leaking at some point, especially right on the seams. And that's what seems to have happened to me. So anyway, we'll move along here. All right. Hang loose. By the way, it's cold. We had freezing rain last night, or the night before, and that prevented me getting to this a day earlier. And if there's one thing I hate, is working in the cold. But hey, I've got a Carhartt insulated bib, and by the way, oh, very good. Just a real quick detail here. These bolts on this crossover line that goes into this part of the radiator, these are 8mm bolts, and the ones here, the 2 bolts that hold the radiator in, are 10mm. That's right, they're not SAE on the 1996 Bronco. One of the things that I took time to do here is that there was, it's kind of hard to see, but there was some definite rust going on here. This is a perfect time to get in there and run some rust reformer, 415, whatever you want in there. And it's a rather cold day, so you can see this side was rusted more. I even touched up the frame a little bit over here on this side. But I wired it down, chipped everything off, vacuumed all the rust up, and then made sure that I laid down, at least where it was dry as much as possible, some rust reformer to clean that up, to save some of the subframe here. So anyway, yeah, that's just a tip. Always good to do something like that to kind of prolong things. Okay, one thing about putting in the new radiator, this little flap right here, I just bent it up and made sure I got it in there safe and pushed down all the way and made sure the holes lined up here. And then I just lifted this. I just lifted this up over it and held it into place, and then just screwed those down. And that's it. The new one is in the bottom. The bottom hose needs to go on first. Then I'll put on the adapters to the oil lines. They're about an 11/16 socket, and I'll put a little bit of thread locker on them. Thread sealant, not Loctite. Thread sealant, and then I think they go down to about 17 foot-pounds, and then the oil lines go in.